what's up? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Abiodun Adelu. I'm a relationship and a personal development coach. We are currently on a series on keeping conversations alive in a relationship. And this is the second video on that series. Check the description below to see the link to the first video. So we are talking about the things that you need to discuss in a love relationship. What are the things that you need to talk about? Sometimes people become blank and they don't even know what to talk about. And then they are wondering, okay, what do you talk about? It may be easier for you if you guys have really blended on that friendship level before. But for some people, they may feel awkward and then they may feel like we don't even know anything to talk about. We'll just be looking at each other, we'll be on phone and then we'll just be there. We don't even know what to talk about. And sometimes, it's not like you're not talking about some things, but you probably are missing out on some topics. So this is to give you a holistic view on the things to talk about. There are some of them that you're already talking about or you've talked about. But there are some of them you may not really have taken note of it, like, okay, do we need to talk about this? But watching this video will make you know that, oh, we need to talk about this also. So you'll find some of them that you already know and you're already talking about. But you'll find some of them that you either don't know or you're not giving priorities to. And you need to start talking about them. So number 11, what do you need to talk about? You need to talk about your recent spiritual experiences and dealings in God. Share with your partner the things that God has been teaching you recently. For a while now, observe that God has been teaching me on faith. God has been teaching me on trust. God has been teaching me on relationship management. Okay, observe that recently I've been having some series of dreams on this topic. I've been having a series of dreams about Nigeria, and God has been laying it in my heart to pray a series of prayers on this area. In fact, God is even nudging in my heart that this month I need to do a one-day retreat, or I need to fast for 3 days. Talk about those things. It will help you guys to begin to understand your spiritual orientations. If you are talking about your own spiritual experiences, then you also allow the person to talk about their own too. It will also help you to understand how both of you are growing, and the passion and the burden in each person's heart, and the emphasis of God. When I know the emphasis of God for your life, if I see any material on that, I can easily push it to you and say, oh, this material will help you based on the things that God is teaching you in this season. So it is very good if we can talk about our dealings and our spiritual experiences in recent times. I know that those things can change. So your spiritual experiences and your dealings, the major emphasis of God, that's what the dealing is. The major emphasis of God in your life can change from time to time based on the kind of person is molding out of you. And when you observe that, okay, this is what I feel that God is calling my attention to at this period. Maybe God is calling my attention into fellowship. He wants me to do more fellowship, more than what I've used to do before. He wants me to study more. God is pointing my attention to the life of Abraham. And recently I've been studying about the life of Abraham. Okay, God is calling my attention to the business world. And He's beginning to nudge my heart to take courses on businesses, to take courses on this. Oh, I feel like God is beginning to bring my attention to a particular problem in the society. And it could be a clue that God is directing me and is giving me a voice or a solution in that area. You begin to talk about those things, and then as you talk about it, your partner can encourage you, your partner can also advise you on the relevant materials that you can study to help you broaden your understanding on that topic. So talking about your recent experiences is very, very good. Number 12, talk about money. Money matter. Talk about money. Financial discussions are very, very important in a love relationship. Even if you are going to live by faith and say that God will supply all our needs, you must make sure that both of you are on the same level of faith. Number 2, you must make sure that you have practical and sustainable plans in place to help you in the journey. So in talking about money, talk about your budget. Talk about your current income. Talk about your saving habits. Talk about your expenditure pattern. Talk about your spending triggers. What are spending triggers? You should probably have noticed your spending triggers before now. Your spending trigger is something that makes you spend money that you did not plan. For some people, it's vacation. For some people, it is shoes. For some people, it is gadgets. For some people, it is a course. Someone like me, I think once I see any book or any course or any training or anything that can help me to learn or grow, even if I did not plan to spend that money, it will kind of attract me, and I may end up spending what I didn't plan. So I know that training, courses, skills, books are my spending triggers, and my partner is aware of it. Because of that, I begin to intentionally guide myself in that area. Shoes may not be my trigger. You can flash shoe till next tomorrow. it won't get my attention. It could be somebody else's spending trigger. But what the essence of knowing your spending trigger is to know how to begin to control yourself in that area. Because the meaning of trigger is that it can make you to do what you did not plan to do, and eventually you can look back at it. For example, I may look back at some courses and some trainings I did and wonder, do I really need that? Some of them I didn't even finish them, and then I paid for it. So everybody should know their spending triggers. For some females, their spending trigger is shoe. Once they see a shoe like this, the money they didn't plan to spend, they will spend it. For some people, their spending trigger may be a gadget. Once they see a new pouch, a new phone pouch, once they see a new earpiece that is fanciful, it's their spending trigger. Talk about your spending triggers. For some people, their spending trigger may be a vacation. It could be anything. Talk about what your spending trigger is. Something that easily triggers your spending, even if you are on a budget. And the essence of knowing it, of course, you should have studied yourself over time to know your spending triggers. But if you don't know your spending triggers, sit down with each other and begin to talk about your spending pattern over the time, and you see your spending triggers. The essence of knowing your spending triggers is that you can begin to watch each other's back and know how to help each other. So when talking about money, also talk about your financial goals. Okay, this year I plan to save so and so amount every day, or every week, or every month, or at least whatever interval you are using, whether it's regular or irregular. It is better it's regular anyway, especially if you have a regular income. And you should also talk about your income too, and you should talk about your plan, your financial plan. Okay, this is what I'm currently earning. These are the ways I plan to increase my financial capacity, and these are the things that I plan to do. Okay, I noticed that last year I spent more money on this. These are the things I'm planning to do this year to help me to stay on budget and to help me to control myself. And it will help both of you to begin to watch each other's back and give each other some gentle reminders. Oh, you said that you are not going to buy too many shoes like you did last year, but this is already 1 month into the year and you've gotten like 3 shoes already. Are you sure that you are still on that budget? You can begin to watch each other's back and know how you are growing and how you are faring with respect to money. Number 13, talk about your friends. Talk about your social circle. Who are your friends, whether they are male, whether they are females. Don't say that, okay, I don't want my female partner to know that I have some female friends because I don't want her to be jealous. No, talk about it. And she will tell you how she feels about your relationship with that person. And you as a female also, talk about your friendship with male gender, and then hear from your partner his perspective towards keeping a male gender friend. Talk about these things, and then you can begin to blend your perspective together on different things. Talk about your colleagues. You can gist about colleagues. Oh, I met this new person in the office today. Okay, this person, we are working on a project together. Talk about your friends. Talking about your friends also help your partner to know the kind of people you are keeping around you and the kind of influence they are having on you. Number 14, talk about your temperament and your personality. Now, like I earlier said in a video, unlike poles attract. That's psychologically speaking, unlike poles attract, meaning that an introvert usually is attracted to an introvert. An introvert is usually attracted to an extrovert. Now, there will be exceptions, definitely, and you may be part of the exceptions. But we're just speaking that generally, unlike poles attract. Talk about your personality. If you don't know your personality, you can read any good book on personality. The popular one is Why You Act the Way You Do by Tim LaHaye, and Spirit Control Temperament by the same Tim LaHaye. You can read those books to know your temperament and share your strengths and your weaknesses. The essence of knowing your strength is to know that, okay, these are the things I'm good at, and then I will work on them. And the essence of knowing the weaknesses is to know the things that you are prone to, or the tendencies that you have on, and how to improve upon them. And it will also inform your partner of your tendencies and how to help you scale through those things. You may not like to talk about your weaknesses because it makes you feel vulnerable and silly, and it makes you feel like a weak person. But just trust me, you are not a weak person. These are things that you need to work upon, and you must accept them. You must not deny them. Once you accept them, it will help you to know how to begin to improve on yourself. So talk about your personality, talk about your temperament. Okay, maybe you are the outgoing person, maybe you are the indoor person, maybe you are the person that likes to keep friends. Maybe you are the person that you really don't like friends. You really don't do friends like that. Just 1 or 2 people that are close to you like that. And if you are somebody that really don't believe in keeping too many friends, and you're in a relationship with somebody that has a whole lot of friends around him or her, you need to talk about it also, so that to ensure that both of you are on the same page. Now, many of these things you may not 100% agree on the first discussion about it, but at least you have started a discussion that you can begin to nurture and ensure that over time, as you grow, you check your perspective and see whether you are beginning to come into the same perspective concerning it. But over time, you notice that you are growing together in love, in oneness, in unity, in perspective, and then you are beginning to get better concerning your divergence of perspective. 15, talk about your past. You should talk about your future. We earlier talked about that, but you also need to talk about your past. You have a past, you have a history, you have an experience in the past. Talk about your past. And most times when people talk about talking about past, they only talk about the probably the bad and the ugly. Talk about the funny ones, talk about your childhood experiences, talk about how you guys grew up, talk about your experiences and your struggles in the past and the things that you've been able to work on. Talk about the embarrassing moments, talk about the funny times. Talk about the mistakes you've made in the past and how you've been able to overcome them. And if you are still working on overcoming them, talk about it also. Talk about the good, talk about the bad, talk about the ugly. And see how you can begin to understand each other based on the past and based on your present and based on where God is taking you also. So make sure you take time to talk about your past. Just remember that all these things are not things that you necessarily plan. Okay, today we want to talk about our past. Or you start with your own. That's too mechanical. You can start with your own and just begin to talk. In fact, this thing that you said now made me remember something that happened when I was in JS2, and then this and this and that, and then from there, this person too will talk about our own too. Wow, so this is what happened in your own school. In my own school, in fact, it happened when I was in SS1, and before you know, you are beginning to have an idea of a particular part of your partner's past that may inform the way they behave or the way they do things. In fact, some of the things that happened in the past can inform how you believe things, how you do things. It can affect many things about you. So talk about your past, the funny things, the embarrassing things, your mistakes, the good, the bad, the ugly. If it is something that is bad or the ugly or something that is a mistake, talk about what you have done to overcome it or what you are currently doing about it. Number 16, talk about your family orientation. We are from different families and our experiences while growing up is different. Talk about your family beliefs. Talk about the way you do things in your family, whether you do morning devotion together or you do it separately, who cooks at home, the kind of houses you've lived in, the kind of experiences you have, whether you live with your mom, whether you grew up with your mom and your dad, whether you grew up with your mom alone or your dad alone. Do you grow up in a nuclear family or an extended family? Maybe your dad has more than one wife, or maybe your mom remarried. Talk about these things. It will help you to know each other's belief about family. There are some families that they all eat together from the same plate. In some other families, everybody eats from separate plates. Some families, everybody gathers at the dining table to eat at the same time. Some families, you're on your own. Everybody eats at their own time. All these things will inform your behaviors and your attitude and your disposition in life. Talk about those things. Talk about your level of relationship with your family members. There are some families that as they grow up like this, all of them are on their own and then they are not really gelled, they are not really close like that again. Some families are still in good relationship and they talk almost every week or every day. But some families like this, the last time they heard about each other is probably 3 months ago. Talk about your parents' involvement in your life. Are they the one making decisions for you or you are making decisions for yourself? Now, this thing, you may not talk about these things and say, my mom is the one that used to make decisions for me. But when you talk, you begin to see those traits, okay, in this person. In fact, yesterday it was my mommy that helped me to do this. When I was filling my form, it was my mommy that helped me to do it. When I picked school, you begin to see those things and you pay attention to it. And you know the level of dependence or independence that this person has on his or her family member. And you should also talk about your relationship with your extensions. Some families, it is just nuclear. They don't relate with their extended families. Some families, they are in relationship with their uncles, with their aunties, with their brother, with their sister, with their cousin. All of them are still in their life. So how large is your family? What is your family orientation? What is your family culture? Now, you are not even talking about your ideal family, your ideal future family now. But you are still sharing your own background with respect to your family. What were the things you experienced? Do male cook in your family? Do females cook in your family? Do male fetch waters? Or is it only females that do all of the house chores? Talk about these things. The person may not accurately tell you that in my family, it is the females that fetch water, or the males will just sit down and stretch our legs. But you can see all those things will begin to show. from their discussions, from the things they say. Oh, yesterday I was telling my sister that she should cook for me, and she said that she's not going to cook for me. Can you imagine that? Is she not someone that's supposed to cook? Is she not the female? When you hear such sentence, it shows that this person believes that it is the female's job to cook and the male's job to eat it. Can you imagine? Division of labor, right? But you need to talk about it if you are fine with it, and begin to see how you can blend your views together on family upbringing. But you need to accept that these things are not to stir up arguments, because you grew up with different experiences. So at this level, you are still trying to know each other. You're not trying to change each other. Oh, why will you be doing something like that? No, that is wrong. Everybody should be together on the same table. And you're trying to condemn these people's practice in their family, or you feel like your own orientation is superior. No. At this level, you're not trying to change the person yet. You are still trying to understand the person so that both of you see how you can work together. For some things, you may need to meet on the middle ground. Some families, they don't pray on food. Just descend on the thing and eat. Some families, they will all gather and hold their hands together and pray. If both of you come together, the guy will start eating, and then you are saying that you are not patient. We need to pray on food. Because you have different orientations while growing up. So talk about your family background, your belief, your experiences, and the things that you guys did together, and how much of relationship and influences you still have on each other till now. If some of your siblings are dependent on you, or you are dependent on somebody, it's your uncle that is sponsoring your education or something, talk about these things. It will help you to know family involvement and the family ties. Number 17, talk about education. This one is obvious already. Talk about each other's levels of education, and if you plan to stop there or move on. Talk about your intellectual capacity. Talk about your intellectual compatibility. Talk about these things. Okay, this is the course I studied, this is the school I attended, all of those things. It will help you to know who each other is. Number 18, talk about your heroes, your mentors, and your models. These are the people that influence you. These are the people you listen to. And their influence on your life is very, very strong, and it will affect every other area of your life. So talk about your own models. Oh, I love to listen to this person. In fact, if this person is coming to town, trust me, for that day, everything I have to do, I will suspend it because I must be at that meeting. So talk about the people you listen to. Some of them, they influence you from afar. Some of them, like your mentors, they influence you at a closer range, like your mentor. So begin to plan on how to meet each other's mentors, and begin to listen to the person that your partner listens to. It will help you to grow together, and it will help you to be informed about who your partner is listening to, because all those things influence your partner's behavior, your partner's attitude, and disposition to different topics in life. Talk about each other's heroes, each other's models, each other's mentors. Number 19, talk about trending topics. It's not every time you talk about serious things. So talk about trending topics. It could be something funny, it could be something serious. There have been a lot of things that trended recently. Some of them are serious matters, some of them are just funny matters that you just used to catch cruise. So just talk about different trending things and your perspective towards it. Oh, I saw this online and it's as if everybody is talking about it. What do you feel about it? Okay, it could be technology, it could be entertainment, it could be something related to the church, something related to business space. Talk about it and begin to see what each other feels about it. And then talk about your own perspective too. Remember, the goal is not argument. The goal is understanding. Once you start from a perspective of argument, it won't make your partner to talk freely, because the person feels like you have a closed mind. You have your own perspective that you're not ready to listen to my own. But make your conversation interesting by being open and by listening to the other person's perspective. Even if you feel like you have a superior perspective, you must listen to me and understand what I feel about it, and then let me hear your own too, and then we can come to a middle point. And finally, on this second video, number 20, talk about your hobbies. What do you like to do? How do you relax? Do you watch movies? Do you like to listen to songs? Do you like to read books? Do you like to do something? Okay, what are the things you like? Maybe attending to people, maybe talking to children, maybe traveling, maybe swimming. It could be anything. Your hobby could be cooking. If your hobby is cooking, good for your husband. And if you're a male, good for your wife. So talk about your hobbies, talk about different things that you like, talk about different things that you interest. You may find out that some of your hobbies are similar, and you may find out that some of your hobbies are even opposite. Oh, me, I don't like watching movies. Ah, wow, I love watching movies. Your hobby can be sports. You like to watch about sport and discuss about Man U, Chelsea. Your partner will say, I don't like those things. Remember, it's not argument, it's understanding. So talk about your hobbies and begin to see how both of you blend, and how you can begin to appreciate what each other appreciates. Because your hobby is something you appreciate, and if your partner talks down on your hobby, you won't like it. So talk about your hobbies, and it will also help your conversation. Now, the goal is friendship. The goal is not to win. The goal is not to lord your perspective over your partner. The goal in conversation is communication and friendship. And in communication, it should be two-sided. It should not be you talking every time. You should talk and then let your partner talk about his or her own too. So remember that this is a series. If you've not watched the first video, check the description to see the link to that video, and then make sure that you like this video and subscribe to this channel and put on the notification button so that when I post the third video on this series, you'll know about it. The next video will be very, very interesting. We'll be talking about many other interesting things that you'd like to know about. We've been able to lay a lot of foundations on the spiritual, on the social, and many other things. But the other ones are also important because these are things that you need to talk about, and it will help you to grow in your friendship. I believe you've enjoyed this video. See you in the next video.